For today's video, we're going to look at Sun Porch that was made by Homer Laughlin in the late 1930s on the kitchen craft shape. It's a rather rare pattern, and it's also very much in demand. In particular, Fiesta collectors tend to gravitate towards this pattern because of the little Fiesta dishes on the table. Frederick Reed drew this up. There's a very rough sketch in his notes at the pottery. Other potteries would use this decal, namely W.S. George. We'll look at an example in a moment. We look at the decal listings. This comes from 1941, 1942. And we look up the treatment number KK332. This is Sun Porch. And it says it's one sprig of decal number 395 with red lines. So it's not coming from any other shape. It originates with Kitchen Craft. But more importantly, it says it's G.C. Murphy. So it was an exclusive on Kitchen Craft, which I thought was interesting. Generally, when we see G.C. Murphy treatments that are exclusive, they're prefixed with a GCM. But in this case, they use the Kitchen Craft number. Again, KK332. So we have a Kitchen Craft pie plate. There's our one sprig with our red trim. Kitchen Craft oven served back stamp. And it has an overglazed Sun Porch marking on the bottom. Now that's written with two words. You're going to see spellings both ways. In fact, on another decal sheet, we're going to see it written as one word, but here it's two. Corresponding pie lifter. It's making use of the small sprig, which is essentially the top of the column in the large decal. 10-inch mixing bowl. And we should have the Kitchen Craft back stamp. So you will find every piece of Kitchen Craft with this decal, though again, it's very difficult to get. Kitchen Craft oven serve casserole. And then we look at the decal sheets again, and we can see where, again, in the late 1930s and early 1940s, it was also used on dinnerware. In the case of Century, it is treatment C255, and it's referring to KK332. That's telling us it originates in the Kitchen Craft shape, two sprigs with red verge band. So this is a later Century treatment number because Century treatment numbers essentially end at 275. And most of your Century treatments towards the end of Century in the late 1930s are very bold, colorful decal treatments, sort of like Mexicana and Hacienda. Well, this is part of that family, Sun Porch. We also see it on Swing Eggshell as treatment S161. And here it's listed as Sun Porch with one word. One sprig of KK332 with red line. But Sun Porch on Swing Eggshell is extremely difficult to find. Now in the late 1940s and early 1950s, they started using it on Virginia Rose. But in this case, it was mainly second quality. So at this point, it's basically a scrap print. This one's dated 1950. And you can see there's a couple imperfections in this, so it might even be third quality. And it was used by other potteries. Richard Ratcher notes in his book on Virginia Rose that it was used by Harker, though I don't recall seeing a piece of Harker. This one's W.S. George, which it was used on several of their shapes, like Ranchero. This one's Bolero, which is a coupe-shaped, fluted shape. It's the same decal. The W.S. George pieces will almost always be marked as such. W.S. George Bolero. The glazes are going to be somewhat different. If I take this W.S. George glaze and mix it with an oven serve or Kitchen Craft glaze, you can see this one's a little more yellow. This is more white. But the decals are the same. And I'd imagine there are collectors that mix those in with their Homer Laughlin versions. So that's it. Sun Porch by Homer Laughlin on Kitchen Craft Century and Swing Eggshell.